Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and the bread lines are coming, my friends, and this supply chain issue is absolutely catastrophic, and it comes from so many different angles right now. As this Zero Hedge article says, food crisis about to get worse after China says winter wheat condition could be worst in history, and this seems like a controlled collapse of the wheat exports in China, which raises a lot of questions. Why on earth would the Chinese government purposely stop the full production of wheat? They blame it on climate change. They blame it on all sorts of different things. And of course, that's part of the agenda. But the main agenda going forward seems to be, well, you guessed it. You probably heard it many times before, the Great Reset. And we are going to go into how the supply chain issue is actually getting way, way, way worse throughout the world due to multiple issues in this video today. But first, my friends, as always, make sure to check the links below. GoGetFunding.com, Patreon, subscribe to our. We have a PayPal address, we have a Bitcoin address, and we have a Cointree link with multiple different cryptocurrencies that you could donate in, if you please, all in the description of this video, as well as an Epic Fund Me campaign where you could donate Epic Cash. We also have whamsurvival.com linked in the description below, your source for long-term storable food. You save money if you go through us. It, as this video will clearly show, it's never been more important to get long-term storable foods in the face of war, supply chain crisis. It's a controlled collapse, and it's best that you're overly prepared rather than underprepared, my friends. Don't wait too long to actually get long-term storable foods. Also, make sure to check out rncstore.com, Richardson Nutritional Center, your source for Laetrile online, made famous by G. Edward Griffin's book, World Without Cancer. Get your apricot seeds, Laetrile, vitamin B17, and amygdalin there. And of course, come and join us at Flote Fest 2022, April 29th to May 3rd. In Gause, Texas. It's just outside of Austin. It's a camping event, though there's hotels nearby. You could use code WHAM, that's WAM, to buy your tickets. And there's an affiliate link in the description. Multiple amazing speakers, including Eddie Bravo, Sam Tripoli, Spike Cohn. And there's so many more. They're talking with Dr. Andrew Kaufman. I mean, big names that they haven't announced yet. I really hope to see you there. Again, link in the description. Anyway, let's get into this. This is huge. Food crisis about to get worse after China says winter wheat condition could be worst in history. And read between the lines here, my friends. It says the condition of China's winter wheat crop could be the worst in history, the agriculture minister said on Saturday, according to Reuters, raising concerns about grain supplies in the world's biggest wheat consumer. Speaking to reporters on the sidelines of the Chinese regime's annual political meetings, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Affairs Tang Renjian said that heavy rainfall last year delayed the planting of about 1/3 of the normal wheat acreage. About 1/3 of the normal wheat acreage. It delayed the planting. So again, they will blame climate change. But there's heavy rainfalls often in throughout China's past. And yes, there's been lots of starvation events, but it's mostly due to central planning. And the Chinese Communist Party going back years, and the U.S. has saved them back in World War II, as well as in the 1970s, creating an artificial alliance and the creation of a technocratic world order through the Trilateral Commission under Zbigniew Brzezinski. We'll get into that more later because this is a controlled collapse. But it's interesting that it delayed the planting of all this wheat, all these wheat acreages. This is huge because it's one of the number one things that people use in their food in China, as well as most places. It continues here. It says a survey of the winter wheat crop taken before the start of the winter found that the amount of first and second grade crop was down more than 20 percentage points, Tang said. And it says, not long ago, we went to the grassroots to do a survey, and many farming experts and technicians told us that crop conditions this year could be the worst in history, he said. This year's grain production indeed faces huge difficulties. And it says, as the Epic Times notes, the minister's comments underscore concerns about China's grain supply at the time at the same time, rather, as the war between Russia and Ukraine, which together account for about 29% of global wheat exports, has disrupted supplies, causing wheat prices to surge to 14-year highs. You know, we've gone into the Emergency Planning Act in Canada many times. And I think this is a huge issue because they talk about how in the near future they'll be doing food price fixing. And I think that is going to have a heavy effect on the dependency of the masses worldwide. You could see it right here on the Emergency Planning Act, which is currently in place in Canada, which is basically martial law. Before the other emergency the other emergency act that was recently passed and then repealed, this is still in place. And you could see the control of livestock and personal property, blah blah blah. And the right here in L, it says procure or fix prices for food, clothing, fuel, equipment, medical supplies, or other essential supplies, and the use of any property, services, resources, or equipment within any part of Saskatchewan during the emergency period. This is absolutely dangerous. And in the face of what we're seeing right now in Russia, it says separately echoing our observations from last week that FT writes that a food crisis looms as Ukrainian wheat shipments grind to a halt, noting that Russia and Ukraine supply almost a third of the world's wheat exports, and since a Russian assault on its neighbor ports on the Black Sea have come to a virtual standstill. As a result, wheat prices have soared to record highs, overtaking levels seen during the food crisis of 2007 to 2008. And remember, with the collapse of the supply chain temporarily in Canada, with the very much warranted trucker convoy protests. I mean, there's multiple angles hitting it. Remember, for 2020, it paid more to stay at home than to work. And then they started firing 20 to 30% of the workforce for not being jabbed. It is indeed a controlled collapse. We have this, how Russia's Ukraine war will make bread unaffordable in the Middle East. So there's another big panic coming to the Middle East, where almost everything everyone eats is wrapped in some kind of wheat export or import, I should say. This is from Yahoo Finance here. Gas prices have spiked more than 11% in 7 days. So you have a combination of all this, and then the gas price is skyrocketing. You have oil prices could cause double-digit inflation. Billionaire supermarket owner says inflation could rise 15% this spring. John Katsimatidis said. That's an interesting name. I should point out that inflation's actually probably coming up on 30% at this point. If you go by the shadow stats standard of calculating inflation that goes back to the 1980s, around the time of Paul Volcker, they don't actually count inflation properly today. So it's always way under than it actually is. Meanwhile, we have Russia-Ukraine crisis replaces COVID as top risk to global supply chains, Moody's says. See how they're switching the narrative so damn much? It's just an assault on freedom, on humanity, on all the things that are essential for humanity to operate. It's interesting that they use the term essential for so long in 2020, while deeming people essential or non-essential by the hand of the state, which is evil, first of all. But second, they are rewriting the term essential. What's essential is our freedom, our humanity, our ability to eat and feed our family. That'll always be the most essential part of humanity. But of course, this is a war on humanity. The coder supply chain runs through Ukraine. They're saying that the collapse of a ton of digital technologies, which are produced in Ukraine, is going to cause an echo effect across the world for gadgets and different, the supply chain of electronics, which is going to be absolutely terrible. And again, this all is tied to the Great Reset agenda. You'll have nothing and you'll be happy. You'll be in a line and beg for food, but you'll get it for free. Don't worry. The government will give it to you for free as long as you're willing to give your mind, body, and soul to the government and become an infinite bot. This is a transhumanist agenda. They have been pushing this for so long. And now you have a situation where if the supply chains break down, my friends, guess what happens next? I'll give you a hint. In 2019, there's a huge billboard promotion throughout the United States for FEMA using Woody Harrelson in that Zombieland movie. Many of you might remember the billboards in 2019 saying, "Are you prepared?" And it was sponsored by FEMA. FEMA doesn't want you to be prepared. The fact is, they always rub in your face what they're going to do before it happens. With the collapse of the supply chain, that means that people are going to be on their knees begging for help from the state. No matter how much anti-government they are, they're not prepared. Most people aren't prepared. They don't have long-term storable foods. They don't have anything like this. And therefore, they become a slave to the state by their own lack of doing. And that's what we're going to see here. We're going to see people lined up in bread lines with food rationing, and eventually in these camps, as long as their social credit's good. By that, I mean your carbon credits, your vaccine passes. That's what the smart card rollout that's happening right now while everyone's distracted by Ukraine, Russia. There's a smart card rollout federally in the United States. I'm currently in Austin, Texas, and this is being rolled out even here, everywhere. Facial recognition, digital passes that show your whole health record on it. This is the beginning of the full-scale assault on humanity, the transhumanist agenda, technocracy rising into social credit systems worldwide. And we're on the cusp of it at this moment. And we are already in it in many places. Darwin, Australia put out their smart grid years ago in Australia. Years ago, modeling after China. China's obviously already doing it. China was propped up by the U.S. Henry Kissinger met with Mao Zedong in the early 1970s to create an artificial alliance with China as they were going through a starvation to save them from their multiple starvations and create an artificial export-import hub, which then led to the creation of the Trilateral Commission by Zbigniew Brzezinski, where he talked about creating a technocratic world order, a super state, if you will, based out of China. Well, this will be the IMF's SDR, special drawing rights, the new currency based in digital technology, central bank digital currencies, and then tied to your bank account, tied to your face, tied to your social credit. And only people that are nice and good to the government and don't protest and don't complain will have the good score. The people that breathe too much, drive too much, think too much, travel too much, well, they're going to be stuck with the hyperinflated currencies of the world, and they won't be able to use them in most stores or businesses, and they'll basically be shut out of society. That is a goal. That's what they openly say is a goal. And while the narrative is collapsing, there's a difference between a narrative collapsing and people taking action. Soviet Russia, the narrative collapsed by the late 1920s after their third starvation. And guess what? Soviet Russia didn't fall until 1991. What does that tell you? After 12 starvations, by the way. It's all part of an orchestrated plan in order to make people dependent, because a government depends on your dependence to survive. They can only survive with your fear and dependence and your comfort and apathy. And that is where we're going, my friends. So that is why I promote long-term storable foods. Look, I get it. People go, I don't want to give you money. I don't want to support any. That's fine. I don't think anyone should have to do anything like that. I am just producing free content. And I turned down affiliates for years. But at this point in time, we need to be prepared. We need long-term storable foods. We need that kind of stuff. And we need to see our fellow man and create communities and groups. And so that's why I've been promoting things like our whamsurvival.com link below, or RNC store for health, because people keep getting cancer from all the radiation and from all the sugars and from all the pharmaceuticals and toxins. And then things like Flote Fest, where we could all meet up in a community, in a group, and talk with each other and hang with each other, or in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, where I live, where we just have thousands of freedom people. And it's just amazing all day, every day. And this is why I'm promoting this stuff. I'm trying to give solutions. I have Epic Cash as well, all those kinds of things that I've been promoting, not because I'm profiting off it, because I guarantee you I'm making almost nothing off of the Wham Survival link. I'm almost making nothing off of Flote Fest or off of RNC store, Richardson Nutritional Center. I'm almost making nothing off of it. I could promote a lot of other things that I could make a lot more money off of, but it's about principles and making sure that people have things prepared for them. If I could save one person that has a family, that means a lot to me. In a case where the grid's down, the stores are empty, everyone's going crazy in the streets, first, you're going to need defense, if you know what I mean. But second, the thought that someone could have bought one of those packages and then, this all goes down and they're safe and they have food and they could keep their stomachs full. That's extremely important going forward. So people can make of it what they will, and I really don't care. BitChute comments are usually ripe with just absurdities and, people losing their mind that an independent media might promote something that could be a solution for people. It's crazy that we still have people laughing at the conspiracy theorists after all this time, considering all that's happened. I mean, we have a supply chain issue, which we predicted. We have a currency collapse, which we predicted for many, many years. I mean, it goes without saying with fiat currencies. And, we see this freezing of bank accounts across the world, privacy coins, like we've been talking about, solutions, my friends. And we see this attack on bodily autonomy, vaccine passports, social credit, all the things that we've been saying for years. And I know many of you watching have been saying this for years as well. And then people just scoff still, like, oh, nice job selling your, grifting and selling your like long-term storable foods. I'm not even selling it. It's another company that's selling it. I make a couple dollars, but it's meant to save lives. The alternative is doing nothing, which unfortunately didn't work out for a lot of people in 2020 when the shelves were empty, and didn't work out very well over the last year and a half, 2 years, when people are out of work and desperate. But, to each their own. People will react however they react, and human nature will say, well, if you're smart and you're prepared, you will survive and you will overcome it. And if you are not smart and if you're not prepared, then you're going to be eaten alive, unfortunately. And it's just a reality. Humanity is survival of the fittest, whether we like it or not. It's just the case. It's just a reality. Anyway, I'm going over to Reykjavik, Iceland, in a couple days. And if I could hook up with the freedom community there, let me know. Email me at joshfsigurdson@gmail.com. That's joshfsigurdson@gmail.com. Because if I could report on what was happening throughout the last 2 years in Iceland, I'd really appreciate that. It's on my way. It's the cheapest flight out, on my way to Europe, mainly Eastern Europe, where I want to try and get into Ukraine if possible. If not, I'll just try to interview some refugees and stuff like that. Whatever's going on, there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of falsities to the news, and I need to see it for myself to really know what's actually happening or believe it. So if anyone wants to help support, check those links below, my friends. GoGetFunding.com, Patreon, Subscribestar. We have a PayPal address, we have a Bitcoin address, and we have a Cointree link with multiple different cryptocurrencies that you could donate in if you please, as well as Epic Fund Me, a campaign where you could donate in Epic Cash, the privacy coin based on Mimblewimble. Look, at the end of the day, I want to make it clear that there's a chance I won't be able to get into Ukraine. There's a very big chance, actually. So I don't want people to feel like they are gonna send money and that I'm definitely going to be able to go there. I don't know yet. I'm just trying my best. The best way to find out is to go on the ground and try to get in. That's it. I want to see what the truth is on the ground, because revisionist history is happening in real time. And no journalists are willing to do it. I know my friend Josh Friedman is heading over there right now, but I don't know how it's going to turn out for him. And I'm also talking with him to find out if he is if he's able to get in. It's our job to test the waters and tell the rest of the world what's actually happening. So that's a job that I take very seriously, and it's very beneficial to the world, and it's beneficial to me as well, because it makes me be able to sleep at night, actually seeing what's happening in the world and being able to deliver something that I know isn't tattered and tainted like the mainstream media and a lot of independent medias as well. So anyway, you can check those links below. We have a Teespring store as well. You could join our newsletter, www.iamband.com. And of course, we are on Telegram at World Alternative Media, as well as our Telegram channel, World Alternative Media Announcements. We're on BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, and Brighteon at World Alternative Media. We're on dollarvigilante.tv, though not all of our videos actually get up there. There's a glitch. We do our best to let them know when that happens. And you could also check out our recent interviews with Dr. Andrew Kaufman and Max Egan as well. We are on Hive, Steemit, and Flote.app at Josh Sigurdson. Make sure to go and follow us on all those and upvote us on Hive, because we have millionaires downvoting us, making sure that we can't actually get reach on Hive. So anything you guys can do to help stop the censors on Hive, we appreciate it. We're also on the bad guys, TikTok and Instagram, World Alternative Media, as well as Twitter and Getter at World Alt Media. Of course, rncstore.com is linked below for apricot seeds, etc. There's whamsurvival.com for long-term storable foods, and of course FloteFest 2022, which we hope to see you there. It is coming up soon, April 29th to May 3rd. Get your tickets and join us at an amazing outdoor camp event. That there's also hotels nearby that you could stay. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be food vendors. It's it's family friendly, and there's going to be also stand-up comics like Sam Tripoli and Eddie Bravo there, among many others. There's going to be amazing speakers there outside of them that are still yet to be announced. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, check those links below. Press the like button, share on social media, and hit that notification button. If you haven't pressed subscribe yet, make sure to do that. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.